Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 564 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy informed in his evening video address that over the past 7 days, Ukrainian forces have advanced. In particular, they moved forward in the Tavria direction in the south and in the Bakhmut direction in the east. In the Kupiansk, Liman, Avdiivka and Marinka directions, Ukrainian troops are holding their ground. Zelenskyy expressed gratitude to all the warriors who make this possible. The president informed that yesterday in the city of Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region, the Russians attacked a volunteer vehicle. It was a direct hit from an anti-tank missile system. As of yesterday evening, it was known for sure that Anthony Ignat from Canada was killed. Unfortunately, Emma Igual of Spain is also likely to have been killed. 2 other volunteers were taken to Dnipro hospitals, German citizen Mavic Ruben and Swedish citizen Johan Matias, and they have been provided with the necessary assistance. Quote, "This Russian shelling once again confirms how close the war against Ukraine is to everyone in the world who truly values human life and who believes it is the common moral duty of humanity to stop terror and defeat evil," said Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The Financial Times informed, based on sources, that US President Joe Biden is close to making a decision on supplying Ukraine with long-range ATACMS missiles, reports European Pravda. The source said the decision may be adopted shortly. The advantage of ATACMS over the UK Storm Shadow or other currently available to Ukraine long-range missiles is that they may be fired from HIMARS launchers rather than from Ukraine's outdated Soviet-era fighter jets. In early September, after a conversation with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Kyiv, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said that this option remains open, and voiced hope that discussion with the administration would lead to a favorable decision. Kuleba had previously asserted that Ukraine would use long-range missiles exclusively within its territory. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he is emotionally ready for a long war and believes that now is a bad moment for negotiations with Russia, reports Ukrainska Pravda, citing his interview with The Economist. Zelenskyy said that some partners may take Ukraine's recent difficulties on the battlefield as a reason to force it to negotiate with Russia, but said that this is a bad moment since Putin sees the same. He noted that Russian President Vladimir Putin is trying to exhaust Ukraine, but Russia itself is fragile, especially economically. At the same time, President Zelenskyy is well aware of the risks of his country if the West begins to withdraw its economic support. With some of his Western allies, including the US, holding elections next year, Zelenskyy knows that maintaining support will be difficult, especially in the absence of significant progress on the front line. Zelenskyy also stressed that if Putin hopes that Donald Trump's victory in the US presidential elections in 2024 will bring him victory, he is mistaken, because Trump would never support Putin. Quote, "That isn't what strong Americans do," unquote, the president of Ukraine said. Zelenskyy also categorically rejects the idea of a compromise with Putin. "The war will continue as long as Russia remains on Ukrainian territory," he said. Zelenskyy is convinced that a negotiated agreement will not be permanent. Later, US State Secretary Antony Blinken said that peace talks with Russia are currently out of reach because so far there are no signs that Putin is interested in meaningful diplomacy. But according to Blinken, if the Russian president shows interest, the Ukrainians will join. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.